I suspect down in Bethnal Green there are some tunes like this popping on around the York Hall at the moment, and Ben Shalom, the promoter, I can feel his hands bouncing up in the air right now. Yes, I'm not wrong, am I, Ben? You are dancing away to that.
I can't believe you're still introducing Spencer as the Omen.
I know, yeah, I know. He's not the Omen.
Go on then, Ben. What would you introduce me as?
Definitely not the Omen.
Oh, there we go. Spencer, definitely not the Omen Oliver. Ben, we watched, well, obviously I wasn't there, but I watched from the studio. Our producer, Ed, and Spencer, definitely not the Omen Oliver, was there with you at the York Hall tonight. Looked like a terrific card, by the way.
Oh, it was amazing. It was one of those York Hall classics nights, and yeah, the atmosphere was incredible. I think we had a bit of chaos on the door. Obviously, we had to change everything around in 48 hours, but so glad we did. It was incredible in there tonight, and some unbelievable fights, and yeah, just a crazy night at the York Hall, and just what we needed, to be honest.
Fight of the night for me was young Joe Laws and Michael Hennessy Jr. Wow, that fight could have headlined, and they could have headlined through the heat they created going into it. I'd like to see more of this. I thought they really helped the promotion, given that obviously Dan Aziz injured his back and Joshua Boatsi and he didn't fight, and that obviously you had to move it at the 11th hour to the York Hall. I thought those two were terrific tonight.
There were some amazing stories tonight. Obviously, you mentioned Joe Laws, and I actually thought he was so up for the fight. I didn't think he'd be going by the fourth round, but it was an incredible fight. He did. To be honest, I feel for Michael Hennessy. He put in everything as well, but it was Joe Laws' night, and it just shows in boxing. Doesn't matter how many times you lose, you keep coming back, and you have your night. And Gilly Green for me was fight of the night. I thought that was absolutely
Spencer thought that as well.
Incredible. Louis Green, who got dropped. If you watch that fight back, he got dropped early and managed to go another 10 rounds. It was one of the most brutal fights I've seen in a long time, and they deserve a lot of credit. That was a very, very special fight.
Ben, that's what the York Hall does, doesn't it? It brings out the best in fighters, and that's what we saw there with Louis Green and Sam Gilly. They put it all on the line, and they punched themselves to a standstill. That's what the York Hall's all about, and that's what we got tonight. It's
so hard these days because there's so many opportunities for fighters to find fighters that just want to fight and love to be in those 50-50 fights. And Louis Green, who's lost a couple of times before, he's worked his way back, had 3 knockouts on the run, and comes into tonight, and this was his opportunity, and just delivered beyond I could ever expect. He was unbelievable. I know he lost tonight, and Sam Gilly probably feels like he's been in a war and will be hurting tomorrow. But these guys, they just love it, and they both enjoyed it, and it's what when we're sat there afterwards and we're thinking, why can't we see that every week? I think that's what we want. It doesn't matter how many times you lose. Louis Green will come again now. The TV promoters want that on their shows, and yeah, it was an incredible night. As you say, Joe Laws, Michael Hennessy was a great fight. I thought that was a great fight. I thought Caris Hartingstall, I've been waiting to see that since she turned over.
Venom and Spite.
A coming of age fight for Caris. That was a coming of age fight.
Relaxed. I don't think anyone in the division is going to want to fight her. She fought Vanessa Bradford, who's never been stopped, and she had her down in the first round and finished her off. It was scary, and that's what we want from Caris. And she was so relaxed, and as you say, coming of age tonight. Yeah, special performance.
And the headliners, of course, the late hour headliners: Isaac Chamberlain, Mikael Lawal defending his titles. A lot on the line here. Quite a cagey fight. But Chamberlain proving, and very emotionally at the end, that it means so much to him.
Yeah, he to be honest, he did show his level. He's only ever lost. I always have said Isaac, for me, is one of the most unlucky fighters in that division. He's lost twice, and not with great preparation, against Lawrence Okoli and Chris Bellew, both world champions. And he got his night tonight. So for me, Lawal never got going. It was disappointing. He never let his hands go. He didn't seem hurt. He didn't seem tired. He just didn't take the fight, by
Never
the
got
scruff
out of the
neck
box.
and,
Never got out of the
and,
box. Yeah.
but Isaac, it was his night, and he's more experienced at this level, and he'll go on now, and he gets his opportunity. And again, it just goes back to the whole thing is around fighters that can lose and come back. As long as you're giving value, you always get opportunities. And Chris Smith proved that, now a world champion, and Isaac Chamberlain, who will want to be knocking on the door of Richard Riakporhe, Chris Smith, and Lawrence Okoli now again. And yeah, I'm delighted for him. As you said, very emotional night for him.
Sure, Ben, it was a remarkable show, really, when you consider that the show looked finished 48 hours ago, and you put that show on. We didn't know what to expect, and every single fight there delivered. And like I said to you, York Hall really is a magical place that seems to bring the best out in fighters. We just had Eddie Hearn on, actually, and he was talking about certain fighters not wanting to take the risks, and like they're getting well paid, they're not wanting to take the risks, and he wants to make more 50-50 fights, and was talking about even possibly dropping fighters because of that, because of the fights that he's putting to them and them not wanting to take them. I mean, what are your thoughts on that, Ben? Like, looking forward, trying to push the sport forward. We want more 50-50 fights. We want the fights that, that the public want to see. I mean, do you agree with that, that is the right way to move forward?
Yeah, look, I'm always fighter first, and I think it's unbelievable the amount of opportunities. When you've got 3 broadcasters in this country all putting huge money into the sport, it's fantastic. But what it does, it makes fighters not want to take risks, and it makes fighters think another opportunity is coming. And it's not always, and I think it comes as well from the promoters that when you lose a fight, they still get opportunities. I think there's a fear amongst fighters in Britain that they shouldn't be taking opportunities. Whilst Fidel Riley's coming up to me there and saying, Ben, forget the next fight. I want Isaac Chamberlain next, and that's what you want. And I think Eddie's right in that respect. I mean, we don't seem to agree a lot at the moment, but I definitely agree on that. I think we need to see fighters wanting to fight, but we also need to make sure that fighters that lose have a way back, and that's when we'll see fighters wanting to take more risks.
Ben,
Sure.
you the news this week, of course, that you've expanded Boxer out to NBC in the United States, a very big platform there. Congratulations on that. Can I ask you about that? But also, in the same breath, I understand you might be going to Saudi Arabia next week. Are you extending that way as well?
Look, we'll see. I think for us, I think back to when I struggled to get any sort of TV deal. We used to run around trying to get 5 Spike, ITV4, NBC on Monday. It's been something we've been working on for a while. It's a huge moment, a huge milestone for us. There's a small business that started in Manchester only 6 or 7 years ago. To do a deal like that as the exclusive boxing provider for them worldwide is it's a special moment, and you want your fighters. I think the job of a promoter is make sure your fighters are fighting in front of as many people, as many eyeballs as possible. So to be able to now open that up, and you think of all the British stars that have done so well over there over the years, Nassim Hamed and
All our stars, all our stars.
Tyson Fury, and they're the ones that have really sort of broken records, and so now to be able to say to the likes of Ben Whittaker, to Adam Azim, to Caroline Dubois, the fighters knocking on the door and that want to take on the pay-per-view mantelpiece, that want to be the stars of the future, now that they can be broadcast in the US, and it gives us an opportunity to go and do shows over there. It's it was an emotional moment for us, to be honest, on Monday. It really was.
And that went out on NBC tonight, presumably.
It was. So
brilliant.
Just imagine this, Gareth, though. NBC, they've left boxing. They've had enough. This was 6 or 7 years ago. We managed to convince them to come in, and on Monday they announced a big deal, and on Tuesday I'm calling them saying that the main event's off and welcome back to boxing. So it was an interesting start, but they're delighted with tonight. I think it's a long road, it's a long future, and delighted to have them on board.
We've asked everyone tonight about Tyson Fury and Francis Ngannou next weekend. Are you? Can I suggest you're going to be at that next weekend or not?
I'm supposed to be going. We're working it out now with Martin Bakole. Obviously, he's got a big fight with Carlos Takam.
Looking forward to that, yeah.
And so, for me, one of the fights on that night, I'm really looking forward to it. It should be a huge show, of course. I think we all know we expect the main event to go one way, but it should be a spectacle. Wardley Adelaide is obviously a great fight. Takam Bakole is a great fight. I know Joseph Parker's on there as well, who I know well. So I should be there definitely Friday, Saturday, and
I'll see you there.
Looking forward to it.
Final one. You're a Manchester lad. Sir Bobby Charlton, a memory?
Oh, tell you what, Matt Busby, Sir Bobby Charlton, they are everything in Manchester, and it almost feels like the end of an era. And he was one of the last, Busby babes, and for him to pass away today was devastating. I actually got the news on the way to the venue, and hearts go out to him and his family and everyone at Manchester United as well. It's a terrible day for football, but what a legacy he leaves behind.
Ben,
Well said.
as always, yes indeed, well said. As always, amen to that. Rest in peace, Sir Bobby. Ben, safe travels home. Thank you so much for joining me and the undeniable Spencer Oliver tonight.
The undeniable.
The undeniable.
I agree with that.
Well done, Ben. Speak soon, mate.
Cheers, Ben. Good night.